I quit today. At least that's what I told myself when I rolled out of bed this morning. Not because I don't care, not because I didn't want this, but because every single day I wake up with the same questions lodged in the back of my mind. Am I even on the right path, or am I just wasting my time? If you've ever felt that, you know it's heavy. You open your eyes, and before you even had your coffee, you're already second guessing every choice that brought you here. You're already carrying the weight of doubt before you even started moving. I quit today. I quit waiting for doubt to disappear before I act. I quit expecting clarity to magically land on me, and I quit believing the myth that successful people don't feel what I feel, because they do. See, the biggest lie we've all been sold is that people who make it are fearless, unshakable, confident from day one. That's not true. The difference between the ones who succeed and the ones who don't isn't the absence of doubt. It's what they do with it. Imagine a runner training alone at dawn. The streets are empty. It's cold. No one sees the miles. No one's clapping as he pushes his lungs to burn. He's invisible. That's where doubt whispers loudest. Why bother? Nobody cares. No one's watching. Just go back to bed. That's where most people turn around. But the ones who don't, they come back tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. And when the race finally happens, everyone says, wow, where did this guy come from? He came from the silence. That's the part nobody romanticizes. The silence, the long stretch where no one's noticing, no one's cheering, and no one's telling you you're doing great. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. The people you thought would be there for you probably won't be. Not at first, at least. Not when you need it most. That's the trial. That's the fire that separates the wheat from the chaff. Because to have more in life, you have to prove you can handle more. To live differently, you have to be different. And being different means standing in the silence. Alex Hormozi said something that hit me. There will be a time when the only person clapping for you is you. The first time I heard that, it stopped me cold. Because I realized that's where I've been living. And maybe that's where you're at right now. Think about it. Every journey worth telling has that lonely middle. The call to adventure comes, sure, but then comes the refusal, the fear, the doubt, the cave, the dragon, the moment the hero is alone and no one's coming to save them. That's this part of your story, the silence. And silence doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Silence is a test. Imagine a painter working in a basement studio. Years go by, canvases pile up. He experiments, he fails, throws half of them away. Nobody visits, nobody buys. He starts thinking maybe he's insane for trying. But he keeps showing up. 10 years later, someone discovers him. Suddenly the world says, wow, what an overnight success. Overnight? Try a decade of silence. Here's the brutal truth. I've wanted to quit more times than I've wanted to continue. I thought I'm wasting my time. I'm learning the wrong things. I should be doing something else. And if you've ever had those thoughts, you're not broken. You're just on the journey. But here's the difference. The ones who make it, they keep showing up anyway. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even connections. It's endurance. It's the decisions to keep moving forward when doubt is screaming at you to stop. Think of a kid at a school play. He finishes his solo. His heart's pounding, and the audience is silent for a beat too long. He panics. Did I do something wrong? Did they hate it? Then finally the applause comes. But in that gap, in that silence, he got a glimpse of the truth. You can't depend on claps to define you. You have to keep standing there even when it's dead quiet. That's the skill. That's the muscle nobody wants to train. And here's where identity comes in. Most of us don't realize we've turned our doubts into our name tags. We say, I'm a procrastinator. I'm anxious. I'm inconsistent. I'm a failure. But those aren't identities. Those are choices. Choices repeated so many times that they feel permanent, but they're not. That's why the silence is so important. It forces you to confront who you are without the labels. Let me show you. Imagine someone who calls himself a procrastinator. That's his story. That's how he explains himself. Every time he delays, every time he avoids, he reinforces that label. But the second he takes an action in spite of that label, the story starts to break down. And once you start breaking the story, you realize you were never what you thought you were. You were just rehearsing a choice. That's the real shift. Now let me pause here, because this is where most people get stuck. They're sitting in silence. No one's clapping. The voice in their head is loud, and they think, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. That's when community matters. See, Hormozi's right. There'll be a time when the only person clapping for you is you. But that doesn't mean you should walk the path totally alone. That's why I built my school community to where people like us, people who are wrestling with the silence, the doubt, the second guessing, can actually find each other. It's not a cheerleading squad. It's not fake hype. It's a room full of people who get it. So if you've been carrying that weight by yourself, if you've been wishing there was somewhere you can go, and you don't feel insane for chasing this, that's this place. That's where you'll find people who don't just clap. They understand, because the truth is, no one outside really gets it at first. Your friends, your family, they'll look at you sideways. They won't understand why you're grinding in silence. And that's fine. They're not supposed to. But you you need to keep moving anyway, because the silence is the forge. It's the place where you either break or you build. And if you can survive there, when the applause finally comes, you won't need it. It'll just be a bonus. Think of a blacksmith hammering steel. The fire doesn't ask if he's ready. The anvil doesn't care if he's confident. The only way to shape the blade is to show up and keep swinging heat after heat, strike after strike. That's how strength is built. That's how identity is forged. So yeah, I quit today. I quit letting silence define me. I quit waiting for the applause to tell me I'm on the right track. I quit believing the lie that doubt means I don't belong here, because doubt is proof you're in the fight. And if you're in the fight, you're already ahead of most people. But here's the bigger thing I want to leave with you. If you've ever said, I'm just this way, I've always been like this, I'll never change, then you need to hear me. Your identity is not a list of choices you've made in the past. You aren't an alcoholic. You aren't a procrastinator. You aren't a failure. The second you decide differently, you never were. And that's the next step of this journey, because silence teaches you perseverance. The identity teaches you freedom. And that's what I'm talking about in the next video, linked right up here. Check it out.